Good morning, student. Today we discuss about the human common disease ringworm. Ringworm, which is known as dermophytosis. Ringworm, which is known as the dermophytosis. Ringworm is the most common infectious disease in man. Ringworm is the most common infectious disease in man caused by many fungal species. Caused by many fungal species. Many fungal species belonging to genera microspora, then trichophyton, then epidermophyton, caused by many fungal species belonging to genera microspora, trichophyton, epidermophyton. Then fungi feed on keratin. Fungi feed on keratin. Feed on keratin. Feed on keratin in skin, hair, scalp and nails. Fungi feed on keratin, skin, hair, scalp and nails. Heat and moisture help fungi to grow in skin folds, such as in groin and between in the toes. Groin and between in toes. Heat and moisture help fungi to grow in skin folds such as groin and between in toes. Then symptoms of the ringworm. Symptoms of ringworm. Symptoms of ringworm. Symptoms: infected skin shows. Enlarged red ring. Enlarged red ring. First symptom: infected skin show enlarged red ring. Then appearance of dry scaly lesions. appearance of dry, scaly lesions. Second symptom is the dry, scaly lesions. Red patches causes intense itching. Next is the intense itching. The next symptom of ringworm is the infection of nail. Infection of nails is termed as the onychomycosis. Is termed as the onychomycosis. Onychomycosis, the infection of nail. Infection of nail, termed as onychomycosis. Nails become thick. Due to this, nails become thick. Nails become thick and discolored. Nails become thick, discolored and disfigured. Due to the infection of nail, nails become thick, discolored and disfigured. Then athlete's foot. Next symptom is the athlete's. Athlete's foot is the fungal infection. Athlete's foot. Next symptom is the athlete's foot. Fungal infection usually begins between the toes. Between the toes. Athlete's foot, between the toes. These are the symptoms of ringworm: enlarged red ring, dry scaly lesions, intense itching, then infection of nail, which is termed as the onychomycosis. The infected nail shows thick, discolored and disfigured. And then athlete's foot, which begins between the toes. Next, mode of transmission. Mode of transmission. Ringworm spread by sharing of clothes, combs, sharing of clothes, combs of infected person. Then second mode of infection is the close contact with infected person. Next is the close contact with infected person. Generally, ringworms acquired from the soil. Generally acquired from the soil. Then next is the Prevention and control. Prevention and control. Prevention and control of ringworm. Maintenance of personal and public hygiene. Maintenance of personal and public hygiene is a very important for the prevention and control of the ringworm. Consumption of clean drinking water. Consumption of clean drinking water, food, vegetables, fruits, etc. Consumption of clean drinking water, food, vegetables, fruits, etc. Public hygiene includes proper disposal of waste and excreta, periodic cleaning and disinfection. Periodic cleaning and disinfection of water reservoirs, that is the pool, tanks, etc. This is about the first disease, ringworm. Then second disease, dengue. Next disease is the dengue. Dengue fever is a painful, debilitating vector-borne disease. Debilitating vector-borne disease. Debilitating vector-borne disease. Dengue virus is transmitted through the bite of female Aedes. The bite of female Aedes mosquito. Female Aedes mosquito. Virus transmitted through a bite of female Aedes mosquito. The dengue caused by 4 closely related viruses. Dengue caused by 4 closely related viruses. Dengue caused by 4 closely related viruses, that is the DEN first. DEN first. 4 closely related viruses. First is the DEN first. Second virus is the DEN second. Third virus is the DEN third. And fourth virus is the DEN fourth. These are closely related viruses which cause dengue. These 4 viruses are called serotypes. These 4 viruses are called serotypes. These 4 viruses, that is a DEN1, DEN2, DEN3, DEN4. These 4 viruses are called as the serotypes. Each has a different interactions with the antibodies. Interaction with antibodies. These 4 viruses each has different interactions with antibodies in human blood serum. In human blood serum. In human blood serum. Then next is the symptom. Symptoms begin 4 to 6 days after the infection. Then it lasts for up to 10 days. And lasts for 10 days. Sudden high fever. The symptoms start or begins 4 to 6 days after infection. The symptoms: sudden high fever, severe headaches, pains behind eyes. First symptom, sudden high fever, then severe headache, pains behind eyes, fatigue, then nausea, vomiting, skin rash, appear, skin rash appear, 2 to 5 days. 2 to 5 days. Then mild bleeding, mild bleeding, nose bleeding, gum bleeding, mild bleeding, nose bleeding, gum bleeding. Then hemorrhagic fever, hemorrhagic fever. A rare complication character. A rare complication character. Hemorrhagic fever is a rare complication character by high fever. By high fever, then damage to lymph and blood vessels. Damage lymph and blood vessels. Then bleeding from the nose and gums. Bleeding from nose and gums. Then enlarged liver. Enlarged liver. Enlarged liver. And failure of circulatory system. Failure of circulatory system. The symptoms of dengue is the sudden high fever, severe headache, pains behind eyes, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, skin rash, appear 2 to 5 days on skin, mild bleeding. Then the hemorrhagic fever symptoms shown in a rare complication. And the hemorrhagic fever is a rare complication character which show the symptoms, that is the high fever, damaged lymph and blood vessels, bleeding from nose and gum, enlarged liver and failure of circulatory system. These are the symptoms of dengue. Then the symptoms may progressive or massive. The symptoms may progressive to massive bleeding, shock and death. Progressive and massive bleeding. Progressive and massive bleeding, shock and death. Shock and death. It's called dengue shock syndrome. Called dengue shock syndrome. What is dengue shock syndrome? The progressive and massive bleeding. The progressive and the massive bleeding, shock and death. The progressive and massive bleeding, shock and death is called as the dengue shock syndrome. Is called as the dengue shock syndrome. Then next treatment. There is no specific medicine. No specific medicine. Use pain relievers. Use pain relievers. Use pain relievers. That is the acetaminophen. That is the acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Use pain relievers as a acetaminophen. You should also rest. Drink plenty of fluids. Then next is the prevention and control. Next is the prevention and control. Prevention and control. To prevent bites by infected mosquito. To prevent bites by infected mosquito, in 2019, the FDA approved a vaccine. FDA approved vaccine. Approved vaccine which prevent the disease. Vaccine Dengue Vaxia. In 2019, FDA approved vaccine Dengue Vaxia, which help in prevention of disease. This is about the disease dengue. In today's lecture, we discuss ringworm and dengue disease. Thank you.